Good morning. I'm Reverend Cathy Harrington, and I'm serving this congregation as their interim minister for 2 years. And it's really an honor to be here. And it's so good to see all of you. It's good to be together again. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. Welcome to you old friends, new, young, and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first day or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, we are all learning, and we are all loved. So you are welcome here just as you are. And welcome to those of you who are watching us this morning on Zoom. For those in person, we invite you to join us for a time of fellowship following the service in the parish hall. We are blessed to be together here to share truths and stories and spirituality in this beautiful place, a place which has been the site of human gatherings for many thousands of years. And we meet on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee people, and we wish to honor the ancestral guardians of this land and its waterways. Today, many indigenous people continue to call this land home, and they act as its stewards. And may we remember that we too must act as stewards. We have the responsibility to share and care for this land so that this territory may remain healthy for generations to come. We have a reminder that the grief group meets today at noon in the Gardner Room. See Bonnie Collins for more information. Other announcements are in your order of service, in your e-blast, and also in the announcements that are in your order of service. So, yeah, it's a water communion. I hope some of you brought water, but if you didn't, don't worry, we have water up front for you to use. So now it's time for you to greet your neighbor and maybe find somebody that you don't know or that you would like to know better. So ready, set, go. Okay, everybody, I hate to break it up. I had the opportunity to talk to Leo, who's a tenor, and we were talking about, he visited the Arlington Street Church in Boston, and there were like 20 people there that Sunday. So, and the music, you know. So he said, we have it going on here in Buffalo. So, you know, let's not take that for granted. This is a wonderful church. Okay, you're on.
Our call to worship this morning is The Spirit of Water by Cathy Gelfand. We reunite in this sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water, its many forms, and its life-giving essence. And this morning, I have asked the Disick family to come and light the chalice for us. Phyllis, Kate, and Livy, with a special shout out to Josh, who's doing the sound for us in the back, waving. And I'd like to ask you all to stand in body or spirit and join me in reciting our chalice lighting words. We gather in loving community, creating a shared vision of compassion and dignity for all to radically transform the world in which we live. Wow, that was beautiful. Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Now, Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time, so all the lovely green grass was turning brown, all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water. One day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. All the other drops listened very politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true. "Higgins," said one, "get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. One day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again. Eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea. But everyone thought he was being foolish. "That Higgins is nothing but a dreamer," they said. Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket. For a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going in the bucket with Higgins." And he leaped through the air and landed kerplunk in the bucket. Then 2 other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Then 10 drops jumped through the air into the bucket. Then 30, then 50, and then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Soon, the bucket was completely full of water. But there were still more drops that wanted to join, so they found another bucket and hopped in. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, then 3, then 4, then 10, then hundreds, and then thousands of buckets of water. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and all the water flowed together to make a mighty stream. Everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green again, and the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more. All this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true. Because he knew that although he was just a drop in the bucket, enough drops in the bucket make a bucket full. And when there are enough buckets, with the wind behind them, then justice will roll down like waters, and righteously like a mighty stream. Now, if you'll all rise and join us in body or spirit to sing hymn 100 in the great hymnal, "I Got Peace Like a River."
Peace
When we give, we say yes to something that we value. We take up an offering each week to say yes to the values of our Unitarian Universalist faith. We say yes to this beloved community. We say yes to welcoming the stranger, and yes to upholding religious freedom, and yes to caring for our planet. Together, we use these gifts to serve with ever-grading love. Each week, we take up a good portion of our offering to give it away to a social justice cause outside our church. In your announcements and your order of service, you will see instructions of how to donate other than by putting a check or cash in the basket when it passes. This month, we are supporting the good work of Fantastic Friends. We have someone here to talk about it. Sorry. I'm sorry to the music director. Jamie Patterson is the director of Fantastic Friends, which is a nonprofit, volunteer-driven social organization for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. So we would like to invite Jamie Patterson to the pulpit to just tell you a little bit about this wonderful organization that you are supporting this month.
Hello, good morning. So I'm Jamie. I am the Center Director of Fantastic Friends. We are on French Road in Depew. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but we teach classes and have events for people with all disabilities, from those who are nonverbal and have high behaviors to those that just have social anxiety and their parent kind of just wants them to make a friend. So we have weekly classes. We have a kitchen, so we teach life skills. Yesterday we baked strawberry shortcake cupcakes, and this week we made homemade pretzel bites for Bill's Day. So we try and tie everything in. We take everything with a grain of salt. Some kids come in and they've never touched a piece of kitchen equipment because they don't have the opportunity to. We also have bingo for those who are a little bit older and don't want to come to like our Friday night dance. We have arts and crafts. We have a little exercise class. In the summer, we have garden, which I've learned lots from because I don't garden, but they know how to, so that was great. And then we have science club, and we have a little respite where they just come and play games and hang out. So the one thing that I always see is parents come in, guardians, staff, whoever, want to just try and get their kid involved, and they're always like, we're just here to check it out, and then they're here for years. So listen, I love it. But we started, my boss, so the founder of Fantastic Friends, has a son with severe disabilities. He's nonverbal. He has super high behaviors. She couldn't take him grocery shopping. He was thrown out of every school and every program. He would bang his head into the wall. They became best friends with the police because they were there 3 times a week, and he couldn't live in that house anymore, and he had nowhere to go. So she just created a little group with other parents who had the same difficulties, and then more parents came, and then we got a building, and then we outgrew that building, so then we got a different building, and now we're outgrowing this building, so we are expanding. We're gonna add about 3,000 square feet. It's such a headache. So it's a lot of red tape. A lot of this we just take and we go with it. So I'm currently taking classes to learn how to run a nonprofit. So this wasn't ever meant to be what it is now, and I am so forever grateful. I meet new people every day, and then I see the same people that I have for the past 5 years. This has become a space that is so welcoming to everyone, and it allows not only the individuals to have a place to go, but the parents as well. The guardians, the staff, whoever can drop their kid off and then go grocery shopping or take a nap in the car in the parking lot. Because it's a lot, and I'm only with these individuals for a couple hours a day, and I can't imagine what it's like full time. It's It's a lot and it's so rewarding. So I welcome anyone to come stop by, volunteer. If you have any questions, I'll be after, and you can ask them. Just even walk through, see everything. We have as young as 10 and as old as 94. So we have a very wide range, and you'll never see the same person twice. It is the most welcoming, heart-filling, emotional, funny experience. I highly recommend. We have events throughout the year. So we have a fashion show coming up where we have models walk in a fashion show, and to them this is like their Golden Globes. They get to dress up, they get to walk, there's music. This is how we fundraise for the year. We partner with West Her, which is the best opportunity. And that allows us to share more of what we do. So I am forever grateful for the opportunity to even speak here with you now. This is fabulous because, again, years ago, this was never even a possibility for what was going to happen. So thank you. If you do have any questions, I'll be here after and you can ask. Are we good? All righty, thank you. Thank you.
The words for our pastoral prayer this morning are from Gretchen Haley. Start with the thirst, the deep well you have been forgetting, ancient and ready to be soaked without shame, the well your grandmothers dug for you, the reservoir carved and cared for by the people your ancestors betrayed.
Your thirst is their faithfulness, undeterred from believing there are no strangers here. In the same thirst we are made and unmade, born and born again.
Thirst is the thing that remembers who you are. Before the land, the hard rock, your body stiff and unyielding, hungry for canyons, mountains, oxbow lakes, whole oceans of whales and sea lions, and even the bitter stories of slave ships and refugees refused at the shore.
The thirst can hold it all, untellable tales of water coming before the ground is ready, water rising without recourse, stories also of creation and construction, the pot boiling for tea and dinner, warm washcloths, and the first starts of a seedling in spring.
The thirst tastes the air, knows the sky, and the rain before it comes, and sets in motion the leap off the ledge of the dock, freedom bound into the startling cold, and the way the breath leaves and returns, like the sense that you are small, and also not unlike late summer monsoons, always on the verge of danger and undoing it all.
The thirst says we are soft in these bodies, part river flowing with the brown, the cutbows, the immigrant geese, sometimes too much, and risk ready, part creek trickling for miles underground. The thirst knows there is a way to turn every breaking thing into beauty, to flush the wound clean, and begin the healing again.
Thirst is what is possible when we tend to the wanting of the world, the generations, the stars, starting with your small dry mouth, and the reaching for the glass, the pouring and the filling, the lifting to your tongue, and the drinking in until you are drenched in life. And now let us fill this sanctuary with the names of all of our loved ones suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy. Each name a breath, each breath a prayer. And Doug Sherman is grateful for all the cards and well wishes on social media. He continues to recuperate in the hospital following an operation on August 29th. More cards and messages are welcome, but please no visits or phone calls. The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life and water is within us, and the community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be, and let the church say, Amen.
Across the country this morning, many Unitarian Universalist congregations are sharing a common ritual, the water communion. As Carolyn McDade, one of the founders of this ritual, called it, a celebration of connectedness. The first Sunday after Labor Day is often called the Ingathering service because UUs tend to disperse in the summer and then regather in the fall. So this is a ritual that's intended to symbolize the renewal of our connectedness and also the quenching of our thirst and our spirits. When Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview were asked to create a ritual for the Women in Religion Conference 43 years ago in Lansing, Michigan, they were creating a service that was intended to speak to the needs of women. They shared a vision for justice and the environment and empowering women instead of calling them to serve others. The waters symbolized the birth waters, the cycles of the moon, tides, and all of the waters in the small planet. So the women were invited to bring a small container of water from a place of spiritual importance. So it was also designed to be in solidarity, to demonstrate that we were in solidarity with women globally, as all the world over, women are traditionally carrying water. So let this ritual this morning also speak to the stark reality of the water scarcity worldwide and its devastating effects. The World Wildlife Fund predicts by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population will be facing water shortages. Today, more than 200 million hours are spent each day by women and children to collect water from a distant, often polluted source. When I visited Nicaragua 4 times with the Faithful Fools, and we lived in the barrios in Managua, the community that lived there were squatting on the land. There were no public services, so they improvised. They figured out how to borrow electricity and water. They used syringes to turn on their lights, and they tapped into the water that ran 2 to 3 hours in the wee hours of the morning, beginning usually at 2 a.m. So the mamas, the women, the grandmas would sleep with one ear open to hear the water dripping, so they would get out of bed and then fill all of the containers for their use for the day. Bucket baths, washing dishes, washing their clothes by hand, and keeping their homes as clean as possible, though many had dirt floors. So following our summer of multiple climate disasters, from drought to flood, wildfires, hurricanes, and yesterday, an earthquake in Morocco where thousands have died, we gather in community to renew our connections, but we also gather because it is in gathering that we can find inspiration and hope in these perilous times. We gather in beloved community because we need one another. I'm reminded of the big old giant trees in Muir Woods. It's one of the holiest places I've ever been. The air is so pure, it's like you've been hooked up to an oxygen tank when you stand in the midst of these magnificent sequoias. The forests are lush and moist, and they provide sanctuary to 1,500 invertebrates, 100 different species of moss and lichens, and over 100 species of birds, animals, and in the crown, 3,000 different invertebrates and 700 kinds of plants. It's an amazing place. What I am thinking of, though, these old-growth redwoods are hundreds and even thousands of years old, standing over 300 feet tall. And it's actually, the redwood forest is actually a rainforest. It has a lot in common with the rainforests in South America. It's all about water. The trees absorb the water from the surrounding streams through their root systems, but they also get water from the San Francisco fog. If it weren't for the Bay Area, these great trees would not have survived. But the thing that I love about it is they live very close together, and some even grow in perfect circles. They call them fairy circles, fairy rings, and this is the secret to their survival. The roots spread out as much as 150 feet, but they only go in the ground as short as 6 feet. It's really shallow when you think about these redwoods being 300 feet tall. What they do is the roots of these ancient trees intertwine, they wrap around one another, and they hold each other up. They help one another in community by intermingling, sharing their nourishment, creating new life, while at the same time being a sanctuary for other living things. So wouldn't you say that a church is a little bit like a rainforest? At its best, we are like a rainforest, a beloved, interconnected community. So as I invite you to come forward and share the water that you brought, or we have a basket of some vials of water that you can use to symbolize the spiritual water that you wish to share. I invite you to think about making a commitment to fight the climate change that is causing so many disasters, and maybe learning to live more like rainforest, and not just in our community, but in our larger community. While it may seem that in the grand scheme of things, we are merely a drop in the bucket, but thanks to Higgins, we know better. So may this ceremony of connectedness give us the courage to take that leap, so that bound together in community, we can make a difference. We can be like the mighty stream. So I invite you now to come forward and bring your water if you wish, or if you'd like, Jess and I will pour a couple in to symbolize those of you who don't choose to come forward. We're not going to be sharing stories. We're going to do this in silence while we have a little noodling music, as that's what Jessie calls it. And then I have some colored stones, marbles here. If you choose, take one of those with you. Pour your water and grab a stone and keep it with you to remind you of the commitment that you're making silently today to live like a rainforest. Okay, so here we go. We ready? All right. So just come forward. There are 2 balls. That was wonderful, the participation, meaningful. This is our holy water. I will boil it and keep it in jars for our ceremonies, our blessing of the children. I don't know if you all do an animal blessing, but I hope you do, because I'd love to see animals walking through the sanctuary. Hope nobody's turning over in their grave. So now we're going to bless our water, okay? And this is a blessing written by one of our colleagues, Ranwa Hamami. This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, and the lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by commitment and by faith.
This water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members.
So I invite you to respond with the words, "This water is sacred." May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. This water is sacred.
May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and the world. This water is sacred.
May its ripples be a reminder that the changes and growth within this community bring movement and transformation to the world beyond our doors. This water is sacred.
May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. This water is sacred.
In the moments when we are confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment. This water is sacred.
In moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred. Now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1064, Blue Boat Home, in the teal hymnal. Again, if you'll please stay standing in body or spirit as we extinguish the chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
This is by Kaylee Rice. All rivers run to the sea. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today you brought water, poured it in the common bowl. Though our experiences are different, these waters mingled signify our common humanity. Today, you came and shared in this sacred community, and may you depart this sacred space with your hearts filled with new hope for new beginnings and a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where the rivers are tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, and when your life cup overflows, where you're deep in your spirit, you have found a place called home. All rivers run to the sea. Remember that you are blessed and that you are a blessing. May it be so. Go in peace, and may you all say amen.
We are living 'neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living 'neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power, some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share, have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living 'neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power, some in pain. We can worship worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
Join us for a time of fellowship in the parish hall.